Hello, and welcome to Middle Earth Readings. It is Monday, the 28th of November. We are moving into December this week, and I am here to talk to you about the planetary movements moving through the runic wheel this week, so we can do a little bit of weed weaving, a little bit of oracular work. Now, if you are joining me live, I would be very appreciative if you could just pop in the chat box to let me know if you're having any problems or if it's all fine with my reception, because I've had problems all morning. I'm hoping that it will be fine, but if it's not, I might have to end the live simply because it's going to be really disruptive if it's as bad as it was this morning. I can see Diane saying that you are sharing your rune. You're saying hi, Tear for today. I'm assuming you mean Tay. Where's Diane? So Diane is role modeling beautifully, sharing her rune of the week. So you can share your rune of the week and I will give you a reading. Rebecca says I'm patching in and out a little bit. Okay, Rebecca, let me know how disruptive that is for people. We'll give it a go for the next 5 minutes. And if not, I will have to reschedule the session because it's at my end and it doesn't seem to be rebooting. Things like that don't seem to be making it any better. It must be a local problem here. So let's see how we go for the next few minutes. Let me know, other people, how we are going. Hello, Suzanne. Suzanne has shared her and you shared Ren's room. Rebecca is saying it's better now. Diane is saying it's fine. Good. Let's keep going. Just keep it. Let me know in the chat if it gets really bad, because it's difficult for me to see while I'm doing the readings for you how that's going as well. But hopefully it will all be fine. So I wanted to, before we start, just to let you know, for those of you who are already subscribed to Suna's Star Wheel, your planetary movements for December will be coming. They'll be coming out to you today, so you will see them. So you'll be able to plan your month ahead, look at what the energies are going to be presenting for you. And if you are an existing member of Suna's Star Wheel and your membership is running up until the 3rd of January at least, or if you are planning to subscribe to Suna's Star Wheel this month, I am going to be doing a masterclass in runic astrology on the 2nd of January. It's a 2-hour masterclass. It's hosted online. If you join and you can't attend live, you will still have the recording. Obviously, it'll be lovely to see many of you in person. But it's going to be a masterclass all about runic astrology, how you can apply it through the course of the year. And we're going to be opening 2023 as well and looking at weaving intentions for ourselves and opening to the energies of weird and the flow of weird through what the planets are telling us on that day, on that ceremony. So that is on the 2nd of January. If you've got any questions about that, if there are things that you particularly want to know about runic astrology and you're thinking, I wonder if the masterclass is covering that, it's a 2-hour masterclass. It's not the same as for those of you who are on Birth Rune Soul Journey, which is, it's a lifetime of work really. Then there's much more that is there for you. This is a session that's going to help you to understand what are the principles of runic astrology. How does it differ from Western astrology, and where is it the same? So bringing together things that I've obviously mentioned through the course of doing Middle Earth readings with you. So we'll be bringing together some of that. It's a beautiful opening for 2023 and wonderful if you're thinking, actually, I would like to know more about runic astrology and how I can work with the movements of the planets and with my runes to bring more powerful intentions through each month and to flex and to flow with the energies that are available to me, to harness those energies. And we have a real surging of Yera energy coming through with 2 of our planetary movements this week, which is so in keeping with this idea of balancing our intentions, the things that we want to do, the things that we want to achieve, and what's happening around us, the energies that are available to us, seeing the act of stepping into our destinies as being one that is co-created. It's co-created by the desire that we have within, by the purpose or the dream or the vision that you have been born with, even if you don't yet know what it is, and the bigger picture of weird, of the weaving of the full tapestry. We each have our thread our own thread that we're contributing to the pattern, and then we have what's happening in the wider world, which is where the movements of the planets come in. So that is happening on the 2nd of January. It is in the evening. I'll pop a little note in so that you can see a little bit more about that at the end of this live if you're interested and you don't know where the link is. So yes, very much looking forward to that. Just in case I haven't said it, and I should have said it, the masterclass and your Sooner Star Wheel subscription for 2023 are in one bundle. So if you already have a subscription, you get the masterclass as well, and if you get your subscription, you get the masterclass as well. So either way, you are going to get that masterclass, and the recordings will be in your members area. Right, let's have a look at the planetary movements for the week ahead. So on the 30th, so coming up in a couple of days' time, Sooner's chariot, the sun. I'm getting ahead of myself there. Odin is clearly wanting to have a chat with everybody. Sooner's chariot, the sun, is moving into Isa. So it's been in Northes, the rune of the need, fire, the rune of desire, in that sense of sometimes it can be a bit, I've got to push through a little bit. There might be a little bit of discomfort that comes in as your body is telling you what you need and is saying, like, move here, move there, this isn't quite working for you. So we get that real sense of instinctively and intuitively where we want to go, who we want to be, with the Northes rune. And then the Isa rune comes after it, the rune of ice. It's like this balance of fire and ice that you find throughout the Northern tradition cosmology, that you find within the runes as well, that you find within the birth runes too. So we've had that slightly, push is the wrong word, but this sort of desiring energy that can feel like the flame within with Northes. And then Isa comes along and it says, and then let go. It's a little bit like when we're manifesting and we say, I want to achieve this and this and this and this, and then you let go of the outcome. Isa says, and then the stillness, and then the calm, and then the peace. That moment of saying, a job well done. Isa is the rune of ice. As I've said, it's often seen as being like a bridge that we cross over. So it actually encourages us to slow down. If you imagine trying to walk over a bridge of ice, we have to be careful when we do that. We have to slow down. We have to pay attention. There is still a paying attention to the body, in particular to the needs of the body, and thinking about things like, what support might I need? It's that slow down point when you go, okay, Northes has told me what direction of travel I want to go in. Isa is telling me to slow down a little bit. One of the rune poems for Isa talks about the blind man needing to be led. So it's saying the blind man can still cross the bridge. It's not like you can't do what you want to do, but they're going to need to be led in order to do that. The Isa rune also speaks about the ego, or the full soul complex. So ego is a modern term, for a psychological term for self. Our ancestors thought about the full self as being called the mood, from which the word mood comes. Very, very different understanding of the soul and the self. There are some really interesting similarities, and I think that it was people who were working on the Armanen Futhark, which is the youngest of all the Futharks. It's only a couple of 100 years old, who found this link between Isa and the ego. They went, this makes sense, and it does make sense. Because what the Isa rune is saying is, like, when we move and we make change, the ego tends to resist it. It might say, I want to be great and brilliant and I'm wonderful. But when it comes down to the hard work, or to the moving out of the shell, stepping into the new, shedding the skin, the ego doesn't like it. It wants to stay safe where it is, so it resists that change. And so the Isa rune says, okay, what support do I need in order to move forward? So this is a great time through the next couple of weeks to be thinking about, if I've seen some stuff that I want to get done during my Northes time, now it's like, pause. What do I need to do in order maybe to prepare for that, to make sure that I'm safe and supported through that time? So it's a wonderful time for stillness. It's a wonderful time for meditation. It's a wonderful time for reflection. But don't get caught in the Isa trap of, I just want everything to stay the same and I'm going to be fine, and getting small. It's saying, okay, the different voices in me are saying, I don't feel very comfortable about that. That's a big, ambitious thing to do. I'm not sure about that. So it's listening to those voices and seeing what wisdom do they hold and where are they actually coming from, fear. So Issa has both of those within it. Then on the 2nd, we have Odin's chariot moving into Yera, and we are having then Frigg's chariot is going to move on the 4th, so very quickly afterwards, into Yera as well. So this Yera energy is really important for us. And Yera combines the ice and the fire. It's the rune of the year, it's the rune of harvest, it's the rune of combining all of the different elements that we need in order to bring success about, recognizing that anything that is worthwhile normally takes multiple people and multiple forms of energy. When I'm in energy here, I'm meaning quite practically. Sometimes I need to push through, sometimes I need to relax, sometimes I need to bring my creator in, sometimes I need to bring my planner in. All of these different things come together within the Yera rune. So the Yera rune looks like two Kinaz runes circling each other, and you can see that as being, here we go, the winter and the summer circling each other, or the ice and the fire circling each other. And it says, what are the different elements? So for Odin, he's very much talking about harnessing the Issa energy. And then when you're ready, when that moment has come and you've had that insight and you've gone, this is the support I need, or this is the thing I need, then act. That's what he's saying. He said, wait and then act, wait and then act, silence and then action. For me, this week, I am working on two elements of myself that I know sometimes don't always play well together, namely my creator and my planner. And I need both of them in order to bring forth the work that I want to into the world. And so this week I'm working on what are the rules, what are the playground rules for my creator and my planner? Because what tends to happen for me is that I start working on my plan and I'm going away and it's all fine. And then my creator goes, oh, that's a really interesting blog post that I want to write right now, rather than saying I've got the topic and the theme and that will come later. My creator wants to expand into it and fill out all the details and do all of the stuff and choose the pictures and everything. And before I know it, I'm not working on my plan for the month, I'm writing a blog post. And that is challenging for my planner, who doesn't get to finish incomplete. So my creator loves to start things, doesn't love to complete things, so my planner is there. And what I'm working on is saying, actually, when the two of them work together, anything is possible. But when one of them is pulling and saying, no, I want to take over, when it's the other one's turn, then we don't get forward very far. We don't move forward in the direction that we want. So Odin is talking about give time for whatever needs to come through. In the modern world, we're often like, I need to do this and this and this and this and this, and then we're not giving ourselves time to process and to integrate and complete the cycle each time. And Sarah Yera is saying, complete the cycle. If you're somebody, and I'm often somebody where this is the case, where you have a massive list of unfinished tasks, then Yera is a great rune to work with, to say, okay, what's the energy that I need in order to finish and complete? And that builds momentum and it gets the wheel turning and it brings more energy to the next things that you're doing. So this is Odin's chariot in Yera. And then on the 4th, Frigg's chariot is moving into Yera. So Odin's chariot is the Roman equivalent of Mercury. Frigg's chariot is the Roman equivalent of Venus. So it's a slightly different aspect to this energy. And what she's talking about is, again, a marriage of different things. But she's talking about things like the marriage of head and heart. Frigg she was originally an earth goddess of the earth. Many of the northern tradition goddesses there are many earth goddesses. There's not one, there's lots of them. And Frigg then marries Odin, and she becomes the queen of the heavens, of Asgard, the realm of the gods. But she still has this deep affinity and connection to the earth. And when I've worked with her, I have seen her, particularly when her chariot goes into retrograde. It's not at the moment, but when her chariot goes into retrograde, it's like she goes down into the earth to replenish and to renew, because she knows that in order to be the queen that she wants to be, to rule in the way that she wants to rule, to have the energy and the time and the space to offer the service that she knows is hers to provide, she needs to be energized and strong herself. And this is one of the pieces that I work on a lot with my one-to-one clients, and we will be covering it in the new program I'm launching next year called Sensitive Magic, which is all about things like managing our energy in a way that is fruitful rather than, this sort of industrial work, Saturday, Sunday, work, and work and then holiday and then work. They sort of give everything and then crash. Energy is a very different type of energy, where she is more frequently, Odin goes the most frequently into retrograde, let's be clear, but Frigg is role modelling in this sense that in order to be in queenship I need to properly rest and properly be energised, and then she has access to this marriage of head and heart, of this combination of different traits of wisdom that we need to bring through in order to, I believe, bring forth the next flowering of humanity's role on the earth, assuming we're going to have one if we sort ourselves out. So that is our final planet of this week, our final planetary movement of this week. I don't know why I'm struggling to speak now. The other thing I wanted to mention is that Aegir's chariot, so Aegir is the god of the deep sea, his wife is called Ran. His chariot is moving out of retrograde on the 3rd, so in between these two transitions into Yera. He is going to be moving out of retrograde, and I go, hooray for that. I'm going to be talking more about that in Suna's Star Wheel when that comes out today. So for those of you who have Suna's Star Wheel, you can look forward to receiving that as well. Right, let's have a look at your runes for the day. So, Diane, I'm working on the assumption that you have Teiwaz. You've got Tyr. I know that he's a really key deity for you. So Teiwaz is Tyr's rune. It's one of the runes that is more strongly attached to a particular deity. Some of them have what we might think of as patronage, but Teiwaz is very much associated with Tyr in the same way as Inguz is associated with the god Ing. Let me find it. It looks like an arrow, and it is the rune at the beginning of the 3rd 8, which is the 3rd family of the runes in the Elder Futhark. So it opens the 8 of maturity and synthesis, and a bringing together of different ideas, modes of thought. So it has this action within it and this passion. It's got the Thurisaz energy within it, but it's tempered. It's tempered by this poise and this grace and this commitment to truth. You could maybe feel the Ansu's rune balanced within the Teiwaz rune as well. So it's the Ansu's rune is rushing forward, and it's Odin's rune is going off and having ideas and telling stories and doing all of this stuff. And Teiwaz synthesizes these energies together, these energies of the mind and the body, of the heart and the head, similarly to the way that we were talking about Yera. Yera comes along, and it's almost that first impetus towards combining, synthesizing, moving from being maybe like a child or the hero into being the elder who is able to say, yes, that this is true, but this is also true. We are able to see different truths all playing together and then take action based on that. And that's what Tyr often represents. He represents that ability to bring into himself all of the different truths, all of the different things, and say, okay, to be in integrity, to be in wholeness for myself, in order to, what's going to support me in retaining that integrity. So for me, Diane, I think it's almost like different choices are being offered to you, this sort of sense of lots of different things coming in lots of different directions, and it's saying, how do I then synthesize those together and take action that stays in keeping with what I think of as being my core values. Again, I work very closely with my one-to-one clients on establishing what their core values are, and they are such important driving forces for using the energy of this rune and for saying, okay, my truth may be different to somebody else's truth, but I still have to follow mine. and be okay with that, and be okay that somebody else would do that differently. This is what Tyr embodies, that sense that he was a king, and then he's like, well, but I can't do the service that I want to do in order to be a king in that way. Odin is going to be the king now. He sacrifices, but in so doing he makes sacred that which he is sacrificing for. He says, I have a deeper truth, stronger purpose. I will go here, I will do that. And that's his sovereignty, is to do that. So it's that reminder, and I think that it's almost like using the Teiwaz rune as a symbol for that, for you through this week, Diana, saying, what's my truth? And that is what I need to follow, regardless of what else is going on around me. Karen, you have Suelo, which comes just before the Teiwaz rune. So where they're united in that Teiwaz is often considered to be a guiding star, and Suelo is often considered to be a guiding star, namely the sun. It is the rune of the sun. It's the rune of our inner navigation, of our ability to lead. All of these things come true. It's often about that sense of like taking a chance or taking a risk. There are always points at which we can't gather together everything that we need, every key piece of information that we need in order to move forward. And Suelo says, at some point, in order for us to enact our most courageous magic, it's one of my personal values, we have to act with faith, and the faith comes from within. It is, whereas we have the Algiz rune, which comes just before the Suelo rune, that looks at faith in the divine and opening our arms up and receiving the divine. The Suelo rune then says, okay, you've received information from the world around you, you've received information like oracular information, you've received all of these different bits. What does your heart tell you? What is pulling you? Have faith in that. And whereas with the Teiwaz rune, which can be about a lot of synthesizing and deciding, and almost like the conscious mind comes into play with the Teiwaz rune, the Suelo rune is often instinctive. It's a little bit like, I always think about it as being like a captain on a ship, where the sea is becalmed, the sky is grey, there is no sun to be seen, and everyone is looking, at the captain and saying, if we don't row soon, if we don't find shore soon, we're going to die. Think about the Vikings here. We need to choose. And the captain says, I'm going to choose, even though this is the hardest decision, and whatever my choice is, it could be right, but it could be wrong as well. But I need to make the decision, and I need to commit fully to it. And you feel inside that way. And you have to say it with commitment, and you have to lead so that everyone else will follow you. And the only thing that you know is that staying in the becalmed doing nothing is definitely a guarantee that it's not going to, nothing's going to happen, and you are all going to die. So moving forward is the first choice that has to be taken. But the which direction? It's almost like you see the Suelo rune turning, and it's like that little compass. It's saying, okay, what does my heart tell me? So for you, Karen, I'm not suggesting that you're in a Viking ship and that your crew is all going to perish if you don't make the decision. But the Suelo rune is saying, trust your own judgment and trust that instinct. And that it will protect you as well, particularly if you work with the Suelo rune and you draw its energy into yourself. It's a wonderful protector rune. It's a rune of the shield as well. And when we follow faith, life feels easier. Life feels easier. There's always going to be the unknown. There always is. But if we make a decision and get off the anxiety roundabout of should it be this one, 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 we can move forward and we find freedom within that. Suzanne says, good morning. Ren has Rado. Let me see, Ren, what Rado is saying to you. What a little bit of a different energy there. It's, again, I'm seeing a traveller still. I'm seeing like a traveller on a horse for you this time, rather than the Viking ship that we had with Karen. We've got a horseman or horsewoman, and I'm hearing the rhythm of the footfalls of the horse, almost like a cobbled sound. It's that sense which I'm reminded that Rado is the rune of the road, and a road is forged by whoever went before you, and there is a sense here as whereas the Suelo rune is almost like the person who forges that road, and no one knows which way the road is, and the Suelo rune is the one who goes, it's this way, and they make the road. The Rado rune is about saying, following the course that is ahead of you, following the rhythms and the rituals that are established either by other people or by you. There's something here for me about inheritance and sacred rituals that maybe were important to you when you were a child, or that are important to the community here now, and participating in them as a means of moving forward and gaining momentum in your life. Now, it's a little bit like, I was saying about balancing the energy of the creator and the planner. I'm feeling like this is a sense of balancing that desire for the spiritual, which comes from that place of creativity, where we go, what inspires me today? What inspires me today? I'm going to do that. And sometimes actually going, the way to find that inspiration is to follow the path that's already been set ahead of me. The idea of like sacred repetition, almost, that creates a channel for the wisdom, for the creativity to flow through. So for you, Ren, I feel as if it's actually saying, listen for the echoes of rituals, events, ceremonies, ways of doing things that have been passed down to you, and then choose some to follow, almost like an act of honouring, and see where that path takes you. Let us know. I want to know where that path takes you, and that sounds really interesting. Ansus. Oh, Ansus right on top there, waiting to come out there, Meggie. So I've talked a little bit about Ansus already with Diane's reading. We were talking about the way in which the Tewaz rune can combine the Thurisaz energy, the passion and the power of the heart, with the Ansus energy of the mind and of inspiration coming through. There is a sense of honouring the Ansus rune within you. I'm feeling that Odin's chariot in Yera sort of calling. There's an invitation from Odin here coming through. Almost a sense of saying, you've recognised one aspect of your Ansus gifts. And I think that's the ability to flow, to communicate, to have like the voice, literally the voice of the divine or the voice of spirit, however you want to call it, come through you. That ability to express and communicate, it feels very strong within the Ansus rune. But the second prong of the Ansus rune here is also one that I believe is yours, and it's saying there might be a deepening here for you and a claiming of that pathway as well, which is that the Ansus rune is the rune of the foundations of order. The idea that when we tell story, we create order and narrative. When we plan, we are working with the Ansus rune as well, because we are connecting to a vision. We're creating the pathway. It's like the Rado rune comes after the Ansus rune. So the Rado rune is the pathway that Ren is going to be following. The Ansus rune is the planning of that pathway. The creation of the structure is also contained within the Ansus rune. The Ansus rune is really interesting because it was split into a number of other runes in the younger Futhark. So we have the oak, we have the ash, we have Os with the stream and the channel, and they all mean different things, and the Ansus rune contains all of them within it because it's a rune of ideas. And I think that's what it's asking you to look into, is to sort of say, okay, how can you use that Ansus energy to bring even more order, structure, purpose, to recognize that the sovereign element that offers to you as well. That Odin is both the wild wanderer out there, the ecstatic shaman, but he's also the king and the all-father and the sovereign. So it's looking at how you can use that Ansus power that you already have and recognize that you can channel it in different ways. Esther, you have got Runyo for the week. From I was doing the Symbol Rite with my children last night, and we loved shouting our Wunyo, and then my husband's sister was on the phone and she was shouting Wunyo down the phone as well. It was all a lot of fun. So Wunyo is the rune of joy, of friendship, of belonging. In our mastery group, we've been talking, our mastery group for Awaken to the Runes, we've been talking about Wunyo as an embodiment of manifestation as well. It comes at the end of the first 8. So Rado and Ansus that we've just been talking about are both in the first 8, the first family of runes. They're very much about primal initiatory energies. So you can see how, like, Suelo has that idea of leadership, and Ansu's is the planning that comes earlier on. Maybe when we don't have that the experience to draw on so much, or we don't have the Ansu's, you don't necessarily have to be a leader or to step into leadership in order to speak your vision and to speak your truth. You can be speaking it to yourself and claiming it for yourself. Suelo, you're starting to energize that out into the world and becoming a leader in that sense. So these are primal energies, and the Wunyo rune comes at the end of the of that row of those 8 runes. And we were talking about it as being a rune of manifestation, where all of these things come together, and it's like that boom, that moment. Think about it as that moment when we are still a child. We're still in the bosom of our family. Hopefully, that we've had a good childhood experience, and it's that sense of everything coming together and of us feeling like anything is possible, and the horizon of the world looks amazing and wonderful, and we take our first steps into the world and it all goes well. You might think about it also as being like beginner's luck, that sense of when we start like a big project, something that we want to do, often we attract a bit of beginner's luck to us. It starts well. It's almost like the gods are saying, they're going to need a little bit of help here because the storms will come. So we'll give them some support to manifest those first things so that they know that it's possible. And then life will maybe throw a few spanners in the wheel so that they can deepen that understanding and that knowledge and become the wise elders that we need them to become. But we need that Wunyo moment of things going well. So Esther, I feel as if it's almost saying you can take on that role of being the person who creates the luck and draws out those. So as when we say Wunyo at the end of the symbol, right, it's like a sealing of the moment and a recognition that magic has just occurred in the moment. And I feel as if what it's inviting you into is a sense of taking on that role with family and tribe, of being the person who says, yeah, that was, you did that, or that was lucky, or what's possible for you now. Being the voice of Wunyo around you. Also maybe looking at what those Wunyo moments for yourself, those moments of serendipity and when magic is just alive in the world around you, but also being the one who helps people connect with that magic, because we all need that. We all need that building of the faith I mentioned with the Suelo rune, that sense that we need that faith. And that doesn't just come in a vacuum. It comes through moments where life is good and where our intentions are come forth into the world, and they give us the faith to then cross the Isa Bridge, weather the Hagalaz storm, listen to the North is bit and take that risk or that chance, let go of what we used to have and step out into the world. Because ultimately that is what the Wunyo rune is preparing us for. It's preparing us for the second 8, the 8 of the storm, the 8 where the teenager emerges, who hormonally is programmed to step away from the happy joyousness of the Wunyo rune to create something new. And it's the Wunyo rune is all about saying, what is it that they need in order to do that, in order to step out into their own hero's journey. Let's give them a bit of that. Let me see. Da-da. Erica says, good morning. You have Uruz for the week. So we have Uruz, the rune of the Aurochs. Another first 8 rune, the second rune in the Elder Futhog. Again, a very primal energy. I'm feeling it down in my belly as we're speaking. This sense of, it's almost what I would invite you into, Erica, there is to lie down and connect with the heartbeat of the earth and feel the way that it echoes within you, and it echoes within the I want to say the sacral chakra in particular. It's that creativity in the belly. And there's something there about connecting with that energy and doing that regularly to, I was talking about recharging and replenishing, and what Frigg was talking about, that sense of marrying the head and the heart, the earth and the sky. And it's almost like that bringing in of earth energy for you that's going to allow you to then connect with and express the star energy that's coming through, the new things that are coming through for you. The Uruz rune is being very, there we go, there it is. Here's our Uruz rune, here's Erica's rune. So it's the rune of the Aurochs, the rune of strength. There's a lot of willpower, a lot of tenacity, a lot of life force, but it's harnessed life force. It's a rune of structure. Whereas Feyu, the first rune, brings in the force, its energetic, magical force. Uruz helps us to harness it. And that's what I'm feeling like. I'm feeling like it's almost like the Uruz rune is offering itself as a container and saying, open yourself up to the energy of Uruz as frequently as you can. You might also want to do, I know it's cold, but anything where you can do grounding work, going barefoot will be really helpful as well. But it's a filling. Drumming would also work in the same way, but it's really opening yourself up to the Uruz energy so that it can replenish you, so that you're ready for the next phase. I don't know what's coming for you, but it sounds exciting. Share, you have Suelo. Signal seems a little sketchy but clear now. Good. Hopefully we'll continue that way. So we've done Suelo before, so just have a little feel into what comes. So I'm feeling a bit more sparkly energy for you, Share. So listen to what I've already said about the Suelo rune. And then there is more of a sense of mischief and fun and laughter coming through. So the Suelo rune is known for being a bit of a mischief maker as well. Sometimes leaders, to be a leader in a space is to go, wow, the energy of the room is really down. Right, let's enliven this. Let's be the Joker at this point. Let's bring something different to switch the energy, to move the energy in a group. So Suelo brings laughter and lightness, which is so important when we're facing difficulty, when we're facing challenge. So it's almost saying for you, Share, it's how can you bring a little bit of a sprinkle of fairy dust. It does echo Esther's Wunyo rune a little bit. So Wunyo is at the end of the first date, Suelo is at the end of the second date, so they do have similarities with them. But whereas Wunyo might be a little bit about thinking about the other person and thinking what do they need, and it's very nurturing in that sense of like, let me help that person to claim the magic of this moment. This one is about creating the magic of the moment. So I'm literally seeing, like, if we're going to make fairy cakes, let's make fairy cakes with sparkles on. Let's do something fun and exciting and shift the energy a little bit and do something unexpected. So it's looking for those ways in which you can bring that energy that shifts the moment and be the slightly playful, mischievous fairy. A little bit of clown energy. Candice, you've also got Uruz. I'm really enjoying this first 8 energy that we're having here. So what is coming through for Uruz a bit more? What I'm feeling for you, Candice, and again, listen to what I've already said about Uruz. Building on that, for you, there is a water element to this. So Uruz isn't a rune of water, but whenever I've done any work that I've done with it, I feel this very deep, strong earth energy. And then there's this purifying energy. If you've ever been on one of the meditations that I do with Uruz, or the Uruz landscape always seems to have somewhere that's very still, like clear lake, and these still clear waters that offer purification. So I would be looking at, it doesn't feel to me as if it's about you having taken on like other people's energies per se, but there is almost like a deep cleansing that the Uruz rune offers you. What I'm thinking about here, and this is just what I do. I combine my Laguz rune and my Uruz rune in the morning, because I have Laguz is my sun rune and Uruz is my Norna's gift. I couldn't remember which one it was for a minute. And so I combine them, and I have a stone that I collected from a hillside near here. It's very, very powerful, sort of just got really amazing energies to it there. And it's stone, it's got sort of quite a sharp edge to it. And I take my stone in the morning, I keep it in the shower. And when I'm doing my cleansing with the water, I use my stone, and I feel like the serrated edge of the stone, I just move it along, sort of over my energy body, down in my hands, to release anything that is no longer needed. Anything that, I want to say anything that's not mine, but it's almost like sometimes it is mine, and I'm just letting go of it, or sometimes it's ancestral and it's coming through. It's a really powerful method of cleansing, sometimes the Laguz rune needs a little bit of help with, because the Laguz is all flowy, and sometimes it will just go, oh, that's that thing there that you've been carrying on behalf of your grandmother's 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 grandmother for ages, and I can see that surface, but okay, I'll go around it and I'll cleanse this bit here, and that's fine. And the Uruz rune goes, no, hold on, let's deal with that now. So it's more grounded, often more ancient, like older stuff that the Laguz rune might think is part of us, because technically it is part of us, but the Uruz rune is going, no, in order to move forward, it's time to release that. So play with that, Candice, and see what comes to you through that. I was just moved to share with you. That's one of my practices that I do. And Rebecca has Laguz. Well, there you go. They're popping up in the right sort of orders today. So Laguz, I don't want to make it sound as if Laguz isn't an awesome epic rune in its own right. It really, really is. But Laguz is a very open rune. People who have Laguz, and I say this because Laguz is my sun rune, who have Laguz in their birth runes, are very prone to feeling everything, often very highly empathic. And this is why the Laguz rune can identify toxicity in the environment very easily. So you go, oh, there's something wrong here, I really feel it. But if you don't act on it straight away, that toxicity will move through your system, and you'll start to accept that as normal, which is why in most of my birth runes reports, when somebody has Laguz in their birth runes, I will at some point mention the importance of daily cleansing, so that you can retain that Laguz superpower and allow things to move through. Do I want to say more on that? I feel as if there's something that hasn't been said there around the importance of the Laguz nature. All runes have their sort of positive and their negative side. So you could see Laguz as being, when it's working really well, it has that really cleansing, expansive, open, rebirthing energy is coming through. Anything is possible. It's a gateway between the worlds, and I think that's why people who have Laguz in their birth runes tend to act in that way, because they are gateways between all of the different forms of energy that are in a space: emotional, physical, energetic, spiritual, intellect, all of these different things. They feel all of those different things. They're gateways to all of them, which makes them very, very good antennae for what's going on in the world. But if they don't manage that and say, I need to stay clear so that I can do that, then it all gets inside and it gets a bit icky. How does that help you, Rebecca, specifically? I feel as if that sharing was just important for some reason, that this sharing around the way in which, for Laguz people, and I think that you're a Laguz person, if I remember rightly from your birth runes, Rebecca, let me know if I'm wrong, we can get used to something that originally wouldn't have been okay with us. We would have noticed it and gone, oh, there's something there, but we can get used to it over time, and it becomes part of the landscape for us. And yeah, I think it's almost like the Laguz rune wants you to recognize the power of that you already have inside you, and that you're able to help other people to recognize that within them as well. I think this is the thing. It's not saying to me, though, there's lots of stuff that you have not dealt with, or that you've become used to in some way. But it's almost like using that power of the Laguz rune and that knowledge that that's possible, and that people can become acclimatized to energetic environments that aren't suited to them over time, and that your Laguz energy, when you're using that Laguz power, can work to identify when that's happening. So I will leave that with you. Struggling to get through there a little bit with the message that the Laguz rune had. Candy says the Runic Astrology Masterclass sounds awesome. Yes, it does. I am looking forward to it. Patricia has the Dargaz rune, the rune of sudden transformation. This is the gateway rune. The rune of, it's like that rune of stepping through. One of my mentors, Kate Wolf, said to me once, she said, I recognise you in your foot first magic. And I was like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. And I realised that I've been doing a lot of wild voice writing around this theme, and that she had picked up on this. And that with Dargaz, if you have Dargaz, or if you have it in your birth runes, so I do have it in my birth runes, it's my Thor's chariot, so it's very much about my work in the world and how I operate. Requires us to step into that which we see, rather than doing lots of planning and preparation and could it work this way or could it work that way. It's again, the Dargaz rune is the last rune in the Elder Futhark. So we've had Suelo, we've talked about Suelo being like the navigator, and we've had Wunyo, which is at the end of the first date, which is all about that sense of possibility and that accrual of faith and that sense of belonging and confidence that comes through. The Dargaz rune is the final rune, and it's saying, yeah, we're going, we're doing it. There might be some vision on the horizon that you see that seems absolutely impossible. I can tell you right now that my vision for where I think we are going, where humanity is going, is not one that I share a huge amount of time, because it is generations in the future. But that is what motivates me every day to move forward and to say, yes, there is this place where spirituality and science work together. And that leadership is about this merging. A lot about the themes that I've been talking about today are all part of that vision. And Dargaz invites you to simply step in and say, I'm doing it, and I will work out the details later. And also to recognise that with Dargaz, it can sometimes be difficult to communicate what we want to others, because they don't see the vision in the same way. So there are ways that you can work on that. This is why I did the Wild Voice work with Kate Wolf in the first place, was so that I could communicate more effectively what it was that I wanted to achieve through my work. So you can, to a certain extent, start to paint that picture of your vision, but you still need to do the foot forward into the impossible, because that is how we make the possible probable, is through taking that first step. So trust the vision that you see and just take the first next step towards it, is what the Dargaz rune says. It says, don't stand there just looking at it, because nothing will happen there. But if you take that first step, then the next step will become clear, and the next step will become clear. Michelle, you have Issa, so you're feeling that Issa energy that we will be stepping into on the 30th with Suna's chariot. We're already in Issa with Odin's chariot and Frigg's chariot, so there's lots of Issa energy around. It's that stillness and that calmness. Interestingly, with the Dargaz rune is a rune of light. Issa, being the rune of ice, has its two colours are normally seen as being white and black, because it reflects whatever the light is doing around it. So if it's dark, the ice is dark. And if it's light, it has these iridescent light shining through it, absolute beauty of the Issa rune. And so Issa is inviting you back into presence, whereas with Patricia was saying step forward, Issa is actually saying, no, receive what is there for you in the present moment. Receive the light, receive the dark. Take that moment, when you turn all the lights at the end, the lights off at the end of the night, to really allow yourself to be in the dark. There's this, I don't know why, but there is a real presence to light for me, but it might be about looking at all of the different senses for you, and really deepening into that, and spending some time meditating just on what you can hear, and opening to the different types of light that are around you all of the time. There's something there about well-being as well that I'm feeling with the Issa rune, that sense in which almost, people who have, I don't want to say it's SADS, isn't it? I want to say vitamin D deficiency, but that's a different thing, also to do with light. But they have SADS, it's a seasonal disorder, And so they have the daylight lamps inside. And I feel as if, not necessarily that I'm saying you need vitamin D and a daylight lamp, but it is almost saying, before you can decide what you need to do about making life that little bit better, making it a little bit more comfortable, stepping into the next thing, you need to be fully present and paying attention to what you can hear. So if there are any, some people like white noise when they sleep, some people like silence when they sleep, some people like the sound of the rain when they sleep. It's really paying attention to those tiny, tiny details about the subtleties of your environment around you, and paying attention to it and going, okay, what are the tiny changes that I might be able to make that are going to make my life a little bit more comfortable? So we've got some North energy there with needs, and we've got some Isa energy with being still and present in the moment, so that you can pick up on those nuances of what your environment is offering you and whether that works for you or not. Lisa, you have Largus as well. So we had Largus with Rebecca. We've spoken about Largus a couple of times as well. Is there anything else that's coming through with Largus? I think Largus is just inviting you a little bit into the Largus blessing there, Lisa. One of the ways that you can work with Largus is whatever your drink is. You see the I have a Nightmare Before Christmas mug here, which I feel is actually seasonally appropriate, which is very unlike me. Normally I just have it all the time. Has got my tea in it, my warm tea, to help me, because obviously I'm still recovering from my cold a little bit. And you can take your Largus rune and you can trace the Largus rune over whatever drink you have. And the story goes that it was Egil. Egil went to went to a hall, and there was this implication that the drink had been poisoned, and he was suspicious. He was suspicious of the hostess of the event, and so he's said to have traced a rune over his drinking horn, and it's thought to have been the Largus rune, and the horn cracked because it was poisoned. The Largus rune sensed the impurity in the drink and would not allow him to drink from the vessel. And we use that then to think about Largus as offering its power, its purity, its because it's a rune of fertility and growth as well. Whenever we bless a drink in that way, we're blessing it with the Largus rune. We're inviting health and well-being and cleansing and vitality in when we then take our sip of drink. So have a listen to what else I've said about Largus, but I think that the Largus rune is just saying that it would be really nice maybe to pay attention to how much you're drinking, what you're drinking, and offer that blessing as a way of bringing mindfulness to it. And who knows, maybe you'll get some nice Largus blessings within that as well. Trish, you have Hagalaz for the week, the rune of the storm, the rune of change, the rune of the crystalline plan of nature that sometimes requires the storm, the destruction, to allow its power to unfold. It's that moment when, it's like when the storm comes and it's a rebalancing. It gets really, really hot and we're like, oh, I don't like it. And then the storm comes and the air gets fresher. It's almost like nature comes along and rebalances within it. For you, Trish, I'm just moving out of the other energies that have come. We've talked a bit about the second 8 being the 8 of testing and challenge, but I'm not feeling that from Hagalaz. I'm feeling much a warmth from your Hagalaz rune, which I'm quite liking, I have to say. Slight echoing of the piece that I was talking about with Suello, the sort of sparkly, mischievous energy. I never really thought about Hagalaz as being a mischievous rune, if I'm honest, but it's coming through. Here we go. There's Hagalaz. It's a very powerful rune. I'm actually feeling for you, Trish. I don't know if you have crystals at home. I'm imagining that you do, that there's some crystal work to be done here. Almost a rebalancing of energy that will allow changes and events to pass without the requirement for the disruptive storm energy to come through. I'm actually seeing you taking a selection of crystals and working with them intuitively. You could do it with a pendulum, you could just do it with connecting with their energies in some way, and asking them to offer new balancing, new harmonization of the I'm seeing this as being like your home environment. Could be the work environment, but I think it might be the home environment, and then placing those crystals in different locations in your home, and then seeing them connect their energies together so that they form a matrix, a crystal matrix, almost like you're doing a crystal healing for a person and you're doing on your house. And that they will then shift the energies in ways that are more gentle. So the Hagalaz rune is offering itself to you and saying, work with me to bring that change, to bring whatever needs to be. I'm seeing the matrix as perhaps releasing some old energies or some uncertainty or some anxiety, and bringing in new fresh energy, that the cleansing rain, the sun, into the space. So I'm just going to offer that to you, Trish, because I know that you do a lot of magical work and spiritual work, so I reckon you can probably run with that one. But drop me a line if you need any help with that. Chen, you have Urus. So we've talked about Urus a little bit more. So is there anything that Urus wants to offer that we haven't already had, with that sense of strength, of vitality, of sometimes needing that really deep cleansing? There's something about recognizing your own strength and your own power within this, and recognizing that the Urus energy can sometimes feel like that sort of courageous pushing through power, and it's saying you've got that, but it's saying look for other forms of Urus energy as well that are part of you. It's sort of saying you are also, you're not just the willpower forging through and the strength of the aurochs that can move mountains when it needs to. And it's saying, yes, you have that available to you. But also sometimes just being you and being present is sufficient. That it's not always a case of having to push. It's that aurochs. Again, I've talked about the Urus meditation, so I just want to mention that briefly. When we do the meeting with the aurochs in the Urus meditation, just connecting with the aurochs is a powerfully healing experience. Just being with them. And I think that is what this rune is offering to you. It's saying your power and your value don't just come from your ability to push through and make things happen. They also are just your presence is enough. Maybe the offer of a sentence or a smile or a reassuring nod or just being is enough. So I think it's talking about that balance. We're talking about the Yara, the role of the Yara rune through the coming weeks. And it's sort of saying that, yes, Urus has other sides to it as well, and it includes that deep, profound sense of being connected with, and that knowing that being fully present in the moment is often all that is required. So choosing when to expend your energy and when to say, actually, just being centered here, just taking that moment to center in myself and sit here and be silent is also a form of manifesting power, is what the Urus rune is offering. Pearl Honeybee, hello, lovely to see that you've made another live. That is great. You said Queen with a question mark. I'm not sure what you're referring to, so do pop in the box if you know what, if you want to expound on that a little bit. Cher says I need to duck out, we'll catch up later, that's fine. Salian, Suzanne, could you please pick a rune? Mine has vanished apart from Bacano. Oh, interesting. Let me come back to you, Sally Ann, and let me see what's happening with that. I will pick a rune for you otherwise, which is fine. Diane says, thank you for that. He was shouting his name so loud I couldn't remember the name of the rune. That's with Tia. Elaine says you have Thurisaz. We've talked about Thurisaz a little bit with the balancing of it in the Tewas rune. So Thurisaz brings that passion and that power and that, I'm feeling it's really... almost like those deep red colours of sort of like the velvety rose that's also got the thorns, but they're those green thorns. So Thurisaz, when its energy is stale, becomes like thorns, like bramble thorns that have died, and they become really, really sharp and unpleasant, don't they? But what I'm feeling for you is those green thorns of the rose that offer just a little bit of a warning, Just hold on there. And there's something there about recognizing that part of Thurisaz within you, that almost bringing that presence. So I want you to imagine if you're entering a room or a space and feeling that energy of this like deep, rich, red, scented rose, this like velvety rose. I'm thinking about this as a bit of like lover energy, the archetype of the lover, and saying, yeah, I've got that with me. And recognizing that that comes with its own protection, with the green thorns that just stay back with a little bit. So it's that balance again that so many of these runes are inviting us into, of the lover that invites everybody in, is interested in everybody. He says, tell me more about that. And that little bit of, okay, but if a person comes a little bit too far, you just get somebody who just talks forever. You're just like, I really need to leave right now. And you're like, well, I can't do that because I've just done that, I've just done the tell me all about yourself and things. And now they really, really are. And it's bringing that other aspect of the Thurisaz rune through at that point then, and saying, it's been absolutely wonderful speaking with you. We must do it again soon. We've clearly got so much to catch up on, but I need to go off now. I need to head off now. It's being able to move between those two energies of being the real rich invitation and not worrying about that. That if we want to bring your full self, and trusting that you're also able to hold those boundaries, and that the Thurisaz rune won't come out as the, you've been talking for ages now. I need to, you're sitting there and you're just going, you've been talking for a really, really long time now, or whatever it is, and there's somebody is getting into your space, that you can play with that Thurisaz energy just as like a little bit of a pinprick there. Maybe not even having to say anything, just imagining that Thurisaz energy. If I got the Thurisaz rune, I haven't brought it out, have I, for you there? That we don't have to think about it as being a hugely aggressive rune. It often has a bad rap as being a rune that we would never use. It would be a bit aggressive, but we can play with it as the green form. Just that little bit of a prickle there, just sending out that little bit of a prickly energy, just ever so slightly, and to end the conversation, or to step back in the moment, to hold the boundary and say, I don't need to disguise myself or make myself invisible or make myself smaller, because I'm worried about other people's reactions to me, because I also have those I can use my slightly electric prickly energy as well, just to hold them back to a comfortable distance for me at the same time. I'm going to work on the assumption that makes sense for you, Elaine, because that's what's coming through for me very strongly, is this just beautiful rose that has its own self-defences in place, and is good to go on that front. Erica says, thank you, lovely Uru's grounding reminder. Karen says, I felt like being on a Viking ship recently. Invigorating. Oh, I hope that's not a really bad play. Yes, Saliana will pick a rune for you. Candice says, wow, that's serendipitous right now. Thank you for sharing, doing lots of releasing. That's wonderful. So the Lagos and Urus will work well for me. There we go. Pearl, Honeybee, you've got Ewaz, the rune of partnership, the rune of the horse and the steed, of speed. We've been talking a lot about trusting ourselves through this course of this reading. We've had the Tewaz rune, we've had the Suwelo rune. We've been looking at bringing different runes into partnership. The Ewaz rune is so much about divine partnership. It's about trusting that what is happening in the moment is right and correct in this moment, and relaxing into it. When I went on a leadership day where we worked with horses, and we worked with bringing our own truth of who we were in the moment to the horses, so that they didn't become skittish. When we were, somebody who brings that energy of, I'm trying to be really, really like leady now. I'm in charge and I'm doing this out, but they don't feel it inside. The horses can pick up on that, and it makes them skittish, and it makes them go, oh no, I'm not doing what you want me to do. I'm just going to stay totally still and in the moment. And for me, Pearl, it's almost offering those two things. It's saying that when you stand in your own authentic presence, the world responds to that. And that you're able to bring that out in others as well, as that sense that I have. It's like when we bring our truth, when we stand in our own truth and we say all is as it's supposed to be, everything is going to be as it's supposed to be, then the world responds to us in the same way, and everything becomes more easeful, less challenging, less difficult. I'm almost imagining it with I don't know if you've got a pet. You know, it's that some people just have that ability to get on well with, you know, a cat. You know, the cat just goes up and he goes, yeah, I love you, I'm going to come and be your best friend, I'm going to do all of that. And it's almost because that the person normally is they aren't pretending that they really, really, really like cats when they don't, you know, or they just have the cat's well-being at heart and they're interested in the cat, and they're like, oh, yes, you know. Animals can sense authenticity, and Ehwaz is a rune of sort of partnership with animals, and it's saying hone that, use that, and almost use that with people as well. Recognize that that's a gift, that gift of being able to connect with and partner with the animals, animal kingdom. And I'm seeing like that as being plants as well. Every time we forge a connection with that is not like the norm, those are gifts that you can also bring out into the world with your relationships with people as well. Use those skills to connect. So interesting with the Ehwaz rune. It was quite specific there in what it wanted to do, but it is very much about partnership in all of its different forms. And I think what it's inviting you into is a recognition that you already have a lot of its power, that instinctive, intuitive way of working. And trust that, and you don't need to put on a mask of something else in order to connect with people. Patricia says thank you. Trish says thank you. Michelle says so funny that you mentioned noise. I just noticed that I've been using noise cancelling headphones for hours every day. Isa is my earth rune, and this year has been about understanding. Oh, wonderful. Sally Ann, let's choose one for you, and this will be our last one. Oh, and the one that's come on top is the Dargaz rune. So we've talked about the Dargaz rune there already. So what else is it feeling? I was talking about foot first wisdom, wasn't I? Foot first wisdom. And I think that we've actually talked about this before, this idea of going through doorways and seeing each doorway as being I'm ready in the moment to walk through, you know, whatever it is that you see as your vision for the future. Imagine that future is on the other side of every door you step through. Every gate, every time you walk in and out of the bathroom, step into that future and feel what that feels like and see what comes through, and know that by doing that you are making those shifts that are allowing that future to come through more fully. So listen to what else I said about the Dargaz rune, about that sort of foot firstness and going for it and not always having to plan everything and know the details. But there's also that piece there around actually seeing the Dargaz rune in the doorway. I'm sure we've done this before, but I'm not sure that we've done this in a one-to-one, but I'm not sure that we've done it in this way of actually seeing, whatever pictures you have of that future or what you're looking for in the future, step through the Dargaz rune and know that you're stepping into them. A little bit of manifestation magic for you there. Wonderful. Okay, it looks like we have finished, everybody. Pearl Honeybee, and I'm sorry that you cannot post your picture that you would like to about the Queen and Synchronicity, but we look forward to seeing it at a later point. Have a wonderful rest of your week, everybody. I will pop in the Soon as Star will link for those of you who are interested in the masterclass and having your planetary movements sent to you for the year ahead. Chen, I think I've already done your rune there, so I know that you said that you're popping in and out quickly, but that's so fine. Oh no, I'm just talking now because my comments have gone all a bit blippy. Elaine says, my lover's art was accepted for the Toronto Visionary Art Exhibition in the Knights of Spotton with your reading. Wonderful. Great. Have a fabulous rest of your week. I will see you all very soon. I will be doing a live on Wednesday about our new work that we're going to be doing through December, working with Hod and Balder. Hod is the blind god, brother of Balder, the god of light, and also happens to be his slayer. So we will be working with them on cyclical time. So I look forward to working with you all on that. Take care and have a wonderful week.